Welcome back to another first impressions, this time the brilliant healer's new life in the shadows. We have the synopsis from my enemy list. Life hasn't been kind to Xenos. He was born in the slums and his dirt poor background has denied him almost every opportunity. After an encounter with the healer, he throws himself into studying to become one and finally catches a break when an adventurer invites Xenos into his party. Xenos is thrilled, so thrilled in fact that he is willing to put up with his teammates treating him like garbage. They fail to appreciate his talents and ultimately kick him to the curb, claiming he has outlived his usefulness to them. Now bereft of money and out of options, Xenos decides to put his self-taught skills to use elsewhere and opens an underground clinic. Word quickly spreads about the brilliant healer working incredible magic in the city's shadowy underbelly. Even the royal palace is taking notice. Can Xenos buck the odds and carve out a life for himself in a world that has spit in his face? And can he save the lives of the patients who wind up on his doorstep in the process? Now, I have watched the first 3 episodes, as always. 12 episodes supposedly are going to come out. This is... I don't know why. So this is the bog standard. You have a guy who's very talented in what he does. He joins a group and they rise the ranks and they are doing good, but the main character is getting treated like shit. He's getting thrown out of the party, which is very weird because instead of just saying, hey, I don't feel like it works well between us, please search for something else. They even give him like a little bit of money to leave the party, hush money more or less, so he is supposed to not associate with the party anymore after he leaves. And they just are assholes, which is very weird because in all the other things where I would like to have like some assholeness in the story, there's none. But the main antagonist is always depicted as an asshole. It is very weird. So he leaves the party. The anime starts off with him inside his quote-unquote clinic. He has a little elf girl who is more or less doing the house chores. There's some ghosty apparition type of woman, and then there are 3 ladies. There's like a lizard lady, and we find out an orc or ogre lady, and then you have the typical wolf lady. I mean, you see, no. You see it mostly, we have the dog lady, the orc lady, and we have the ghost lady. It's very low. Where's the... Oh, right here. This is the little lizard lady. Now, the first episode, we just get introduced to all these characters. They all like him. It is very apparent. It is like a harem. He is the dance MC. It is bog standard stuff. We find out how they meet in the first 3 episodes, that he got thrown out. He rescued the little elf lady. And then they make a clinic. In that clinic, there's a ghost girl. She hangs around. We find out that he is super strong in healing. And we get introduced to these 3 characters that are all leader of their little clique. We have the leader of the wolf gang, leader of the orc gang, and leader of the lizard gang. And they all try to wrestle supremacy of the underground, or like the slums of the city. And it is pretty bog standard. It is the typical MC is too good, gets run out because they perceive him as not good enough, which is always wrong. He meets a bunch of ladies and he's going to get a harem. He's not going to acknowledge any relationship, any feelings. And that is the story so far. It could go into interesting areas, who knows? It is... I don't know why these stories are so prevalent. It is the same with Isekai. It feels like someone wrote a story in that vein of like MC in a party gets thrown out, and the party that he gets thrown out of is going to crumble because he's so good, but he never got acknowledged. And everyone around them saw, oh, that has success. I could write a better story in that regard, and they all fail. It is just, there's nothing really going on. There were a couple funny parts, sure. It is more on the comedic side for the first 3 episodes. But I don't know what is the point of the story. This is always a problem in these Japanese stories. You have a character who gets surrounded by a lot of women that are all actively pursuing him, and he's just oblivious. He's not doing anything, and it's like, come on. At least give us something. Then just let him be a womanizer. Then at least he has some kind of character. He has a little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of, ooh, you know, like Mushoku Tensei. You know, Rudy, he's cool and all whenever he gets serious, and he can be strong, but he can be an asshole. He has very questionable taste, but it is a character. You know Rudy. You can acknowledge that, hey, sure, he's not perfect, but he can be cool, and he can be really creepy. Hey, at least we have something to latch on. Here you have like the typical, I'm super good, I'm good at Kyushus. I mean, somewhat. He is like, hey, I want to be paid for what I'm doing. But he's not really greedy. He's just a nice guy who's not willing to acknowledge the feelings. I don't know. For me, this is like, just in general, why are there so many of these getting made? There's so many good stories that could be made into anime. Why these? I don't understand. Maybe Japan loves those stories, potentially. But you see here, my anime list has 6.4. I would say it's like a 7. I'm always somewhat optimistic for new anime. You never know, they can go into interesting areas. Same Mushoku Tensei as example. You have a pretty rough start where people jump off because they just don't like Rudy. And if you stick with it, it gets really good, in my opinion. He never really changes that much, but I mean, who knows? Maybe we have something along those lines. Most likely not.